Hello students, in today's class I will be engaging the third poem, and that is When You're Old, written by W.B. Yeats. So W.B. Yeats is an Irish writer. He has got Nobel Prize for Literature in 1923. So now we'll concentrate on the poem. So first you need to know the background of the poem or some of the key points regarding the poem. So the first poem, the theme of the poem. So what do you mean by theme? So theme means topic. So in this poem, the poet is mainly concentrating about his love. So the theme of the poem is love. So the second point, tone. So the tone of the poem is sad and nostalgic. So what do you mean by nostalgic? So nostalgic or reminiscent means thinking about the past. As I told you, it is a love poem, but the poet is sad. So the tone of the poem is also sad and nostalgic. The poet is thinking about his past memories. So the third point, that the poem is autobiographical in nature, or the poem has autobiographical element. So in this poem, the poet is addressing the poem to his beloved. So beloved means lover. So as I told you, this is a love poem, is addressing the poem to his beloved. So the name of the beloved is Maud Gonne. So the woman mentioned in the poem is Maud Gonne. So Maud Gonne was very beautiful. She was active in Ireland politics and she was an influential lady. So the poet was deeply in love with Maud Gonne and he had proposed to her many times. But Maud Gonne doesn't reciprocate to the poet's feelings. Here, reciprocate means she doesn't respond to the feelings of the poet. So the poet is very sad. I hope you have understood the first 3 points. This is a love poem, but the tone is sad and nostalgic, and this is an autobiographical poem. The woman mentioned in this poem is Maud Gonne. So the fourth point, in this poem, the poet uses time frame. So what do you mean by time frame? So here in the poet uses all the 3 times, present, past and future. Time is used to talk about his love. Or by using the time frame, the poet is telling or he is warning his beloved to not to ignore his love and to make a wrong decision. So the next point, in this poem, the poet uses contrast. There are 3 important contrasts used in this poem. So the first one is the contrast between physical beauty and inner beauty. So the second contrast is youth and old age. The third contrast used in the poem is true love and superficial love. Superficial love, we can also call it as fake love or false love. So the poet is using these 3 contrasts to tell us about the nature of. You will understand these 3 concepts neatly when I explain the poem. So now we will concentrate on the poem. So this is a very short and simple poem. The poem consists of 3 stanzas of 4 lines each. So in each stanza you have got 4 lines. A stanza which contains 4 lines is called as a quatrain. So now first we will concentrate on the first stanza. So when you are old, by W.B. Yeats. Now observe the first stanza. So when you are old and grey and full of sea, here you need to keep one point in your mind. So when the poet wrote this poem, his beloved was not old. She was still in her youth. So in the first stanza, what is the poet doing us here? When he wrote this poem, the time was present. From present, he is taking us to future. He is telling his beloved to think about her future days. So just assume that this is future and Maud Gonne or the poet's beloved, she has become old. You need to imagine this scene and then you will understand the poem. So the poem is written in present itself, but you need to assume that it is in future and the beloved has become old. When you are old and grey and full of sea. So when you, so the poet uses a pronoun here, second person pronoun. Here you refers to his beloved. When you are old and grey, grey means as she has become old, her hair has turned into grey color and full of sleep. So the phrase full of sleep refers to drowsiness, or she is sleepy. As she has become old, she is very sleepy. So when you are old and grey and full of sleep and nodding by the fire, and nodding, again here nodding also means a sign of sleepiness. As she has become old, she is sleepy, she is sitting by the fire. So what do you mean by fire? Fire means earth. Earth means here you need to concentrate on the spelling. The spelling of earth here is H-E-A-R-T-H. Here earth refers to fireplace. In Western countries, as it is very cold, to keep them warm inside the house, they have earth. There in the earth, they want to light up the fire. So that is called as fireplace. So whereas the poet's beloved sitting, in future she has become old, her hair has turned into grey color and her eyes are very sleepy. She is sitting by the earth, or she is sitting by the fire. Here, the word or the phrase full of sleep also indicates that her eyes, or she has become very old, there is tiredness in her eyes and her eyes is lacking liveliness. When she was young, she was very beautiful, she was lively, but now she has become old. So there is lack of liveliness in her eyes. And nodding by the fire, take down this book. So the phrase this book. So they might ask this for 1 mark. So what do you mean by this book? So this book refers to the book of poems written by the poet. So what does the poet expect here? The poet is telling his beloved when she becomes old, she needs to take this book of poems written by the poet. She needs to read these poems and recollect her past memories. So take down this book and slowly read and dream of the soft look your eyes had once. So when the poet, when she is reading the book of poems, she recollects her bygone days. So bygone means past days, or she is recollecting her past memories. Here again, time is important. As I told you, when the poet wrote this poem, it was present tense. From present tense, the poet is dragging us to future, and in future again is dragging us back to past. In future, his beloved, she has become old and she is thinking about her past days. So again we are coming back to past. And dream of the soft look your eyes had once. Here the phrase soft look. Soft look refers to the beauty of his beloved. She was very beautiful. Her beauty was mesmerizing, or there was elegance in her beauty. Dream of the soft look your eyes had once, and of their shadows deep. So, and of their shadows deep. The shadows deep symbolically stands for she is very beautiful, but the sorrows are hidden behind her eyes. So, I hope you have understood the first stanza. Here, in the first stanza, the poet shows us a contrast between youth and old age. The phrase full of sleep, old and grey stands for old age, and the phrase soft look refers to her youth. So in the first stanza, you see the contrast between youth and old age. So in the second stanza, here the poet is concentrating on the difference between physical beauty and inner beauty. So in this stanza, it talks about two contrasts. First one is, it talks about the contrast between physical and inner beauty, and the second contrast, it talks about true love and superficial love. So here, the poet is trying to give us a message here. He is trying to tell us that importance should be given to inner beauty than to physical beauty, because physical beauty is not constant. It is transitory. Transitory and it doesn't last long. It keeps on changing. Our physical beauty changes with time. So it is not constant. It will change. Whereas our inner soul or our inner beauty, it is constant and it will be the same. Now suppose you like a person, you love a person. Your feelings towards that person will not change as that person becomes old. So if your feelings changes, then that cannot be called as true love. So what is true love? Whatever be the circumstances, if the time changes also, your feelings towards that person should be constant. It shouldn't change at any cost. Only then we can call that as true love. If it changes, then it cannot be called as true love. It is fake love or superficial love. This difference is shown to us in the second stanza. How many loved your moments of glad days? Here in the first line, how many? As I told you earlier, as Maud was very beautiful, she had many followers and admirers. And all of them, or most of them, they gave importance to her glad days. So what do you mean by the phrase glad days? They might ask this for one word. So glad days here refers to her physical beauty. So she had many followers and most of them, they gave importance to her physical beauty. And love your beauty with love, false or true. Here in the second line, the poet is showing us the contrast between true love and superficial or false love. So what is it telling? So the love exhibited by her admirers might not be true because their feelings will change as Maud becomes old. Whereas the feelings of the poet will not change. It is constant because his love is true love. But one man loved the pilgrim soul in him. So who is this one man? So here one man refers to the speaker. Okay, the poet. So he was truly in love with Maud. So but one man loved the pilgrim soul in him. See, the phrase pilgrim soul is also important. They will ask this for one word. So what do you mean by pilgrim soul? So pilgrim soul here refers to questing for true love or questing for something meaningful. Questing again refers to searching. So Maud, her soul is searching for something meaningful. And what does the poet love here? The poet loves her physical beauty as well as her inner soul, which is searching for something meaningful. But one man loved the pilgrim soul in him. So here, the phrase glad grace refers to physical beauty, whereas the word pilgrim soul refers to her inner beauty. So the poet is trying to tell us that importance should be given to inner beauty and not to physical beauty. And love the sorrows of your changing face. Here, this phrase is also important. The sorrows of your changing face. Even this phrase will also be asked for one word. So what do you mean by sorrows of your changing face? It means that as the poet's beloved, as she becomes old, what happens? She will lose her beauty. Her beauty starts to fade. Even though she loses her beauty, the poet's feelings towards his beloved will not change. It will be the same. It will be constant. So, the sorrows of your changing face has also got symbolic meaning. It also refers to the difficulties and the problem faced by his beloved during her lifetime. So, the poet is stressing one point here that he gives importance to her inner soul and not to her physical beauty. So, in the second stanza, two contrasts have been discussed here, and that is contrast between physical beauty and inner beauty, and the second one, true love and superficial love. So now, in the third stanza, so the second stanza, we were in past itself. Okay, so in past, she was very beautiful, she had lot of admirers and all of them gave importance to her physical beauty. Whereas the poet, who was truly in love with his beloved, he gave importance to her inner soul. And in third stanza, again, we are taken back to future. So in future, what is the poet's beloved doing? She's sitting near the sofa. She is sitting on the sofa beside the fire and bending down beside the glowing bars. So what is she doing here? She's sitting on the sofa near the fire. And what is she doing? She's bending down beside the glowing bars. So what do you mean by glowing bars? So where is she sitting? She's sitting near the fire, or she's sitting near the earth. So the earth is covered by iron bars. So there is fire inside the earth. So the light of the fire is reflected or is reflecting on the iron bars. So it appears as if the bars are also glowing. That is the meaning of glowing bars. So the poet's beloved, she is sitting near the fire and she is thinking. Murmur. So what is she doing? She's speaking very softly. She's speaking to herself. A little sadly. So how is the tone of his beloved? She is very sad. Why is she sad? Because now in future when she becomes old, she is recognizing her mistake. What is her mistake? In her youth days, she ignored the poet's true love. Now she is regretting that. She wants back that love, but she will not get back that love. So a little sadly, how love fled. Here love. Observe the word love. Love is written in capital letters. So observe the phrase love fled. So love, the letter L is written in capital. So here the poet uses a figure of speech, and figure of speech used here is personification. So what do you mean by personification? So personification means giving human qualities or characteristics to objects, animals and abstract ideas. So the non-living things, the things which do not have life, such things are treated as human beings. That is called as personification. So just go through these examples. The first one, a few words came. So a few words came. In words doesn't have life, but here words is treated like a person. So the poet is telling the words to come. So the second example, death, be not proud. So actually this is a title of a poem. Even here death doesn't have life, but here the poet is giving life to death, or death is treated as a human. The poet is addressing death or telling death not to be proud. So the third example, the daffodils are fluttering and dancing in the breeze. So daffodils is a name of a flower. So daffodils, how does daffodils appear to the eyes of the poet? It appears as if the flowers are dancing and fluttering. So in all these examples, the inanimate objects, inanimate means lifeless things, are given life, or the inanimate things are treated as human beings. So observe the line. How love fled and paced upon the mountains overhead. So how love is personified? So love fled. And what has happened to love? So love has escaped, or love has ran away to a far off place. Love fled and paced upon the mountains overhead. So here the poet's beloved, she is regretting. She wants back the true love of the poet, but that love is not reachable. That love is above her reach. Now where is that love? Now love is treated as a person. It has ran away, it has gone over the mountains and hid his face amid a crowd of stars. So what is that love doing now? It is hiding behind a group of stars. So love is now in the sky. It is far away. Even though the poet's beloved wants that love, she will not get it. Here, 2 points are important. So first one. So the poet is making his beloved regret. Regret means pachatapapadu. She is repenting here on her mistake. And what is her mistake? Refusing the poet's true love. On the other hand, the poet is warning his beloved. If she rejects his love, what will happen to her in future? So these 2 points are important here. So in the third stanza, again the poet is taking us to future. In future, he is telling her, he is warning her not to reject his love. So now I will sum up the poem once. So in the first stanza, as I told you earlier, the poem is written in present tense, but the poet tells his beloved or takes his beloved to future time and assume that she has become old. When she becomes old, her hair has turned into grey color and her eyes are full of sleep. In the first stanza, the poet contrasts between youth and old age. So in her youth, she was very beautiful. She had lot of admirers. Whereas in the second stanza, the poet is talking about or tells us the contrast between physical beauty and inner beauty. He is telling us that people should give importance to inner beauty and not to physical beauty. So her admirers, they gave importance to her physical beauty, whereas the poet or the speaker, he gave importance only to her inner soul or spiritual soul. In the third stanza, the poet has used a figure of speech, that is personification. Here love is treated as a person. Here, poet's beloved, she is regretting, she wants back that love, but that love is not easily available now, because now it is hiding behind a group of stars. So I hope you have understood the poem.